that man's an absolute terrorist. He's a horrible man. He's a horrible man. So when they took him away early in the story, I was like, good riddance. Hi, my name is Inshalati. Welcome to also the book club. Today, I'm going to talk about romance novels. So let's lay the scene for a second. I don't particularly like talking about romance novels anymore. If you've watched my first video, you will know that I started reading by reading romance novels. So I started reading in like 2013 and I kind of like stopped reading romance in like 2021, 22, or probably like end of 21, early 2022. It was simply because by that point, I figured, let me explore different genres. The reason I did that was because I found romance had become very stale at that point. It had become very stagnant. It become very repetitive. I'm one of those people who will tell you that books are often the same. Books are relatively all predictable simply because there are very few original ideas, especially in your reality-based genres. And when I say reality-based genres, I mean genres that don't have like sci-fi, fantasy, magical realism in them. Those kinds of genres. So there's very few human things that are original anymore. So it's very difficult to write a human interaction that most of us haven't actually come across. So by that vein, books become very, very repetitive and predictable in nature. Romance at that point had become predictable for me because I'd been reading romance for, at that point, like 8 years. I'd come across so many books. I think there was a year where I'd literally read like over 200 books only in the romance genre. Like at some point you realize there aren't any original ideas that somebody can write that I'd be like interested in reading at that point. So I had to branch if I wanted to continue reading. So I left romance. And so what am I doing here today? What am I recommending to you guys if everything is all the same? I want to recommend a few authors that I think do something really, really well within the romance genre. If you watched my last video, I talk about how, in as much as I know books are very repetitive, there are ways that books are written that stand out and that make a book really, really good. So your execution is quite important to me. Like how you go about writing a book is the most important thing you can do in this essentially predictable space that we essentially find ourselves in. So I said, let me like put together a list of authors and a few of their books that I think are phenomenal. And they are not my favorite authors because I want to sit down and talk to you guys about my absolute favorite author of all time. Her name is Taylor Jenkins Reid. But I figured let's do people that come really close to that. This is not an exhaustive list. Obviously, there's like 3 authors on this list. But I think these are the ones that, like, when somebody says, what romance novels would you recommend or what authors would you recommend, I look into. I tell them about these particular authors because I think they sat back and write really, really compelling romance novels. When as much as I can somewhat predict where the story is going, I'm still able to sit back and enjoy what they've put on their plate, or my plate, I guess. So yeah, so if that's something you'd be interested in, despite the long disclaimer, stick around. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to share the video with people you think might enjoy this. The first author we're going to be talking about is Penelope Douglas. Penelope Douglas writes a lot of like contemporary romance novels as well as dark romance novels. So you get your pick of both worlds in terms of that. She also wrote one of my favorite contemporary romance novels, probably in like 2021, which was Birthday Girl. Birthday Girl is an age gap romance. It was insane. So as an adult now, I'd never read such a book. But back then, I thought it was a really, really interesting book. So the book is basically about a girl who moves in with her ex-boyfriend's dad, and he's not her ex-boyfriend's dad when they move in. She's still dating the guy. They're still boyfriend and girlfriend. But they move out of their own place because the boyfriend had a huge party at their apartment and got kicked out. So they need a new place to stay. So the boyfriend is like, hey, let's go live with my dad. They move in with his dad. And then they break up because the boyfriend is an absolute horrible person and cheats on her. The dad is like, you can still stay here, girlfriend. You can still stay here, and a relationship ensues from there. The tension around that is because obviously you're dating your ex-boyfriend's dad, number one, as well as the fact that he's like old. Okay, not like old, but like he's 40 something, and then she's like 19, if I can remember correctly. I remember enjoying this book so much because the description of that book is phenomenal. They write it in such a way where I like this guy that I met at the theater one night, and he likes this girl that he also met at the theater one night, and then they find out that it's my son's girlfriend. So she's kind of hands off. So I like that hands off thing about their relationship at first. And the tension in that story was amazing. Penelope Douglas knows how to write really good angsty romance scenes and angsty romance setups and situations where you feel like, when are they going to get together? So that was really, really fun. I enjoyed that. So that is one of the first books I always recommend people read if they want to read a romance novel, specifically by Penelope Douglas. The next book was my favorite. It's still one of my favorite romance novels to date. And I read it a few months ago, and I thought it still stood the test of time because I felt the love, man. It is about two high school girls. Love me some queer romance. I love it. So the book is simply about two girls who are in high school together. One of them is bullying the other one. And so obviously it's an enemies to lovers. And then they realize that they like each other. It's so cute. Because they're in high school and they figuring out all these emotions they have for one another, especially the one who is the bully. The bully one is the one who had like a little bit of internalized homophobia. And then she realizes that's silly. That's silly. Just love whoever you want to love and just enjoy it. And so they do that. And the tension in that particular relationship is that they are both from different worlds. Like one is from the other side of the tracks. What the hell is that? I've read so many books and people talk about that, but I'm still one of those people like, what does that even mean? Like, what does that even mean? Do I live on the other side of the tracks? There is like a train track, but never mind. But so one of them is essentially poor and the other one is rich, and the rich one's family is very snooty about her hanging around that part of town. And so that's the main tension, and also the fact that they're gay. So I guess they don't like that. That was insane. I just don't get that kind of tension. But like, I guess in the world that we live in, where some people just can't accept that type of, I guess, expression of love, it's weird. So yeah, that was Penelope Douglas. Love her to death. She writes amazing books. So if you want to try her out, these two books are a great start. If you like some dark romance with adults, you can try the Devil's Night series. That was good. Oh, I read that whole thing and I was like, whew, love that. Oh, there's this one. Never mind. If you go into those books, you go into them. If you don't, you're saving yourself your purity. I lost it a long time ago. Okay, so the next author we're going to be talking about is obviously going to be Kennedy Ryan, because Kennedy Ryan writes some of my favorite stuff now. Like, now I love Kennedy Ryan. Like, I've loved Kennedy Ryan ever since I've come across her, but like every single book she writes is a phenomenal piece of writing, except the book that I said I was reading for this month. Yeah, no, something about that one. I still need to think about it because I finished it today. And I just don't know what my thoughts are on that particular book. But yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it. But for Kennedy Ryan recommendations, I would recommend two series, I guess. So the first series is going to be Grip. Right, it's about Marlon and Bristol. Marlon is a black rapper, and it's important that I mention that he's black and he essentially is in love with his manager. I think she becomes his manager from the first book. Yeah, not the prequel, but the first book where Group essentially starts. So he's been in love with this girl for years and she's just like, no. And this is all because of like events that happen in the prequel of the Grip series. So the zero point 0.5 book of the series. And in that book, they have this connection. They just met and she finds out that he kind of has a girlfriend. It's that situation where people are broken up, but someone doesn't know that they're broken up. And there might be a pregnancy involved, if I remember correctly. That was good. I enjoyed Grip, which was the first book, but I enjoyed Still, which is the second book in the series, way more than I did the first one. And because that one was heartfelt, you are torn to shreds emotionally by Still. And I tell you now that I don't like reading those kinds of books because they are difficult on my mental health, right? But those books, they teach you something very, very fundamental. They teach you about the pains that people go through. Like, these people are rich, but they still go through things that human beings go through. And that's what fundamentally differentiates really great authors for me. Like, people who can create real human beings in their stories that you can resonate with, even when your class is way below theirs. So they go through like a difficulty with their pregnancy and it feels strugglesome. Like, people like to talk about struggle love and how poor people are always trying to stay together and call that struggle love. Then you meet that kind of situation and you're like, oh, there's different kinds of struggle. And as a person who read this book like years ago, I didn't have a concept of that particular love. And then I read that book and I was like, oh, shucks. The world is a lot more difficult than it seems, just because you think if we have money, I'll be fine. These people had money and they were on their knees. They were on their knees and I was like, Kennedy Ryan, you do so well. On top of it, they have the tension of them being an interracial couple. Oh! Hatred is so flippin' annoying. Like, people love each other. They are different in skin tone and you're like, they don't get each other. So I don't like that. That hatred is very, very deep-seated in a lot of communities. But I'm like, but they love each other. So what's wrong with that? Ugh, man, my hopeless romantic is seeping through. Anyway, that is Grip by Kennedy Ryan. You should check it out if you want to feel some racial tension in a story, some struggle love within the rich community. You should read this book. I think it's pretty good. Next series I think you should read by Kennedy Ryan is called Skyland. I've only read 2 books in the Skyland series. There's 3 books in the series, and the reason is the other one, they want me to buy it. So, no. Like, why would you give me the other 2 books on the subscription free, but then you're gonna make me pay for the third one? Unless it's free, I'm not buying that book. And because I don't like to download books illegally, I guess I'm not reading that book until it comes out for free on the Kindle subscription thing. But anyway, the two books I did read in the Skyland series are called Before I Let Go and This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. So I read these books this year. So I read This Could Be Us probably like 2 months ago, just before I started my YouTube channel. So whenever that was, I finished the book. And Before I Let Go, I read it probably 3 months ago then. These books are so good. They're so good. So if I'm telling you now that they're good and I read them like a few months ago, they should be good now still. Right? So Before I Let Go is about a divorced couple who are essentially business partners and co-parenting, but have some tension. There's some sexual chemistry going on between the two of these people, and the story is basically about how they navigate that whilst the husband or the ex-husband is like, I don't like you anymore because you ended our relationship, you ended our love, you ended our marriage when you asked for a divorce, and I didn't think it was something we needed to do. But they were going through something really, really tough as a couple. So she couldn't find herself in the relationship. So she tried to find herself outside the relationship, and that resulted in them getting divorced. He is very, very upset about it, and he kind of takes it out on her. And because he takes it out on her, the children that they have together also feel that. And one of their children, the older girl, is taking that out on her mother. It's an insane book, right? But the sexual tension, it's so good. I'm obsessed with that. But the story is also another sad one, but it's not as sad as Still, but it's on the same level because they go through relatively the same struggle. And I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed the fact that this couple is still so in love with each other, and you can feel the love from the beginning of the book, especially because we meet them getting engaged. So you fall into this very, very loving couple getting engaged. And then the next chapter, which is the first chapter, tells you that these people are divorced and they're not together. The husband hates his wife or his ex-wife, but there's still so much love there. There's still so much love, and they're still forced to work together because they're business partners at a restaurant together, and they're co-parenting their kids together. So there's just all of this tension between them that combusts at the perfect time because Kennedy Ryan knows how to write a really good standalone novel. In this particular series, you can read the books as standalone novels, whereas in the Grip series, you can't, because the series of events are like sequential. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this couple, loved them. And then the next couple that we meet is the wife's friend. So that's how they tie these people all together. They live in the same area. The ladies who are the main characters in the series are friends. So the series is about a group of 3 friends, and each book focuses on each friend. So in the first book, they focused on that lady. And then in the second book, they focused on Soledad. I know her name because I just read it like probably 2 weeks ago. Not 2 weeks ago, like a month ago. So Soledad's book is called This Could Be Us. This Could Be Us is about Soledad, who is a stay-at-home wife and mother looking after her children. She has 3 girls, if I remember correctly, and her husband gets arrested. That man's an absolute terrorist. He's a horrible man. So when they took him away early in the story, I was like, good riddance. I remember telling my friend who also had read the series, I was like, oh, I hate this man. I loathe his being. Despite the fact that it's all fictional, I really hate him. So he gets arrested because he's been embezzling, because he's an absolute horrible person. But yeah, he's caught embezzling funds from his company by a forensic accountant. The forensic accountant is the man that Soledad falls in love with. He's gorgeous in my mind, obviously, because I don't know what that man looks like. But he's gorgeous, he's smart, he's empathetic, he's loving, he's a great dad to his autistic sons. He's just absolutely brilliant. The story is so good. So Soledad falls in love with this forensic accountant who essentially whisked her horrendous man to jail, which I'm happy for her for doing. And that story is good, man. And it's so subtle because this couple, you don't spend so much time with them. You don't spend as much time with them as we do with the first couple in the first book, especially with them together. We get them together at like pivotal moments for us to like essentially root for their love story. But as individuals, we love them because Kennedy Ryan has written these characters as real, authentic human beings that deserve love. So you root for them from that perspective over and above their connection together. So I think This Could Be Us was my favorite of the series. The third book could be my favorite, but I haven't read it because I'm not buying a book. I'm not buying a book if I'm already paying for like the subscription. So like, we'll see if I ever come to it and I love it and I think it's better than This Could Be Us. I'll come back and I'll tell you guys about it. But for now, this is the book that I think is the best of the series. So this is the reason why I'm here. This next author is the reason why I am making this particular video. So a few days ago, probably like on Tuesday, it's Sunday today. So I say to my friend, hey, I need a new book to read. And I'm telling her not because she's going to give me a recommendation, but simply just to voice out the fact that I need a new book and I'm kind of like in a bind in like finding a new book. So I go on my Kindle app and I was like, okay, cool. Let's see what it gives me. There's one book that like comes at me and I'm like, okay, cool. I like the name, Beautiful Broken Love. Let's go for it. I start that book probably at like 8 a.m. in the morning. By 4 p.m., I was done. That book was so good. That book was so good. I was crying. I was laughing. I just stood there and I was like, I want this couple to get together now. Because the tension that was created by this author was phenomenal. Like, I could feel in my soul of souls that this was life-changing reading. That's how I felt. It might be different for someone else. But like, when I read it, I was like, this is why I used to read romance. This is why I kept on coming back to romance, because every single time a good one would come up and I'd be like, it would like quench the thirst that I'd been experiencing by like lackluster romance novels. And Shanora Williams does this really, really well. My mistake is that I assumed that because she writes this well in this one book, she'll do similarly in a book that is in the same world. So I read like the spin-off book and I wasn't impressed. But this book, Beautiful Broken Love, oh, that one is so good. So basically what Beautiful Broken Love was about is about this lady. Her name is Davina. Davina is a business owner and recently widowed. She is trying to get a sponsorship deal or an endorsement with a particular basketball player. And he is infatuated with this woman. He is obsessed with what this woman looks like, how she breathes, how she is. And the relationship is essentially one that starts off as a business relationship and then kind of veers into a more friendly relationship because he finds out that her husband recently passed away and he wants to be a friend to her. Unbeknownst to her from the beginning, he's also lost somebody, so he understands how grief can take over someone's life and how one would deal with such a devastating loss in one's life. So he's kind of like talking her through it, being her friend, but at the same time trying to rip her shirt off. Man, Declan is written so well, aka Deke, because he always likes people to call him Deke. He is, He's written so sensually, he's written so empathetically, he's written so thoughtfully. He's written like a very yummy chocolate. Like, if I were to like describe him as something I would enjoy, a chocolate bar. That's what I think of him. He's really, really great. She is phenomenal. She's like this powerhouse Black woman. And she's just like, she's so closed off to a relationship because of the loss she's just had. She feels like she doesn't deserve to have another love. But this man desires her and loves her so much. I don't know how to explain this book because this is the problem with romance. You are talking about people's lives, and it's very difficult to explain people's lives in a relationship from the perspective of a book. That's why I enjoy like thrillers. Thrillers have a story there. They have like plot points that you can like map out. I can't map this out, but I know how it makes me feel. And I think that's why romance is such a popular genre, because of the way it makes you feel. This book does that really, really well because it focuses on two people and shows you their day-to-day life with the complex structures of their own lives independently and then together. I don't know. I think that this particular novel was really, really good stuff. I enjoyed it. And it's the reason I'm making this video. Like, I don't want to talk about romance in general because I think romance is a feeling more than it is plot points and key events, key characters. I think this is more a feeling, and I don't have the vocabulary to describe feelings to people. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, like this video and let me know what other romance authors you would read. Tell me what romance novels you have enjoyed over the years, and tell me a romance novel that you think hasn't stood the test of time, because there's a lot of them, like 50 Shades. Oh, I loved 50 Shades when I was 15. Now, oh, you couldn't ask me. You couldn't even pay me to read 50 Shades in my own mind, in my own personal time, at the slowest pace ever. No, that stuff does not stand the test of time. But yeah, I want to know what books you guys are reading. You guys. Bro, sorry, I was going to go on a little bit of a rant, but like, I don't want to go on a rant today. It's Sunday. Apparently, it's a good day not to get on a rant. But yeah, so if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Comment whatever you want to comment. I like to read comments, but I don't get a lot of them. So, anyway, don't forget to share the video with other people. So yeah, okay, bye.